The fuck? Where am I at?
I don't know. Who knows? Hello and welcome to episode 45 of Comic Book Wars podcast, the exclusive comic book podcast of Comic Book Wars and war type battle. I don't know. That's good. I mean, we're the comicbookspeculation.com podcast.
The fuck
I
is he
think that's all
doing?
we got. We got co-hosts, side host. We're all co-hosts, I guess, right? I mean, it's just three hosts, right? And but you're talking, so why don't you go? Oh, now you don't want to say anything. Okay, cool.
Nico, your weekend
we also,
update.
you see what happens? We also have an audio version.
I just don't
I
even know what to say sometimes after you. You speak and I'm left speechless. I marvel
Okay, so
at your
if you haven't
your,
noticed, Nico is here. He's our weekend update correspondent of comicbookspeculation.com. Sleepy John's here too. I don't have to introduce him. You can do it though.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for having me on the Talking Tiger King podcast episode. I wore the closest thing I have to a tiger shirt. It's a Pama, Cleveland comic book, and just happened to be that you would accept a Pama as part of the Big Cat Kingdom.
Okay. We got weird intros. That's something we got to work on. We got to get better intros because that's how you hook people. You can't hook
Jimmy
people with
says
these terrible
tigers
intros.
on his shirt.
The Tiger King's the biggest thing going right now.
Skeletons, apparently. Yeah, no, I wanted to go with the hype, so that's why we went with. I think we had a good banner. I mean, I don't know.
You're very exotic.
But, see, we got three amigos over there, and I thought we were three amigos, so it works.
Excuse me?
I thought it worked out. Excuse you, what?
Oh boy.
What's wrong? What? You know the movie Three Amigos with Steve Martin and Martin Short, and there was another guy in that too, right? I don't know.
Chevy Chase.
It wasn't Tim Allen, but it was
Chevy Chase.
Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah.
Okay.
So, my point is,
2 seconds in, and I've got a headache.
What's offensive? I don't know if you're getting mad because I'm saying good. Well, you like we were here early, and I was just singing away, and I was bothering you, so it was a good time. But are we lagging? We might be lagging.
Yeah, a little bit.
But if we're lagging, it's probably my fault. Who knows? Why am I?
It seems like it. It seems like you're off a little bit, but that's normal.
It's true.
Yeah, what's different about that? Probably nothing. So what's big on this week? I think we're starting with Sleepy John speculation, which isn't necessarily something I disagree with.
We ain't even going into it, huh?
Well, what else?
News? Yeah, that's it right there. The big news: Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, cast for The Mandalorian season 2. She was pretty well. She was in a lot of early fan art for if they ever did make her into a live action show character. She's pretty well known from Clone Wars, a big fan favorite from Clone Wars. And I wanted to we've talked about these books for a little while. Clone Wars #1 from Dark Horse, and Jimmy did an article on the variant a while back in November.
Long time ago.
That was when he talked about it last, and I believe we've talked about it much before that, but I could be wrong. But these books have been on people's radar for a couple of years. Now they've skyrocketed with this announcement and getting kind of mixed reviews on it. The one thing that I've seen come up is in the Clone Wars animated show, she is much younger, like a teenager, I believe, and when she's going to be, obviously Rosario Dawson's nowhere near that age, but it fits in the timeline of the Mandalorian show. The Enforcer might have something to say about that, and Jimmy told me that I was a Star Wars idiot, so he may have something to put in on that as well. Do you have anything to add in terms of that, Jimmy?
No, that was good. I mean, okay. I don't know anything about Star Wars, but either do you. So that's what we found out.
Right. So the one thing that I got down a rabbit hole one day since we've been under this temporary seizure of normal day life, I started looking up some other comics that she may be in that may be of interest. And basically, what I came across was some Star Wars Insider magazines that sparked a little bit of interest for me personally, especially this first one. This is Star Wars Insider magazine number 103. This is the B cover. They call the B covers like the previews covers or subscription covers. So I don't even know much about these Star Wars Insider magazines, but I think they're mostly interviews, stories, etc. Not much comic inside, but you can see her on the cover there with all of the rebels, and that's when this comic came out. Was when they released the Clone Wars. So the interesting part to me about this was that it came out the same month as Clone Wars #1. What's going on here? Are we opening up a candy bar?
Oh, it was him.
Dude.
I assumed it was. I assumed I couldn't see him doing it. I muted him. He's muted. I was like, "What is that? Is that John eating?" And I didn't see this, but he's in his mic going like, "Yeah, let me open this candy bar so these guys know I'm getting. I'm having a Snickers or whatever."
I have a beverage on this show. That's all.
I muted him. He can unmute himself, but what a funny guy. These are published by Titan, though, right? So comic book stores could have ordered these.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't realize Titan did a lot of magazines, and I think they later got into comics. So the interesting part about that 103 is it came out the same month as Clone Wars #1, the comic book. So
that's this one.
Yeah. So you kind of have a tie there. I don't know which week what came out, and obviously people are going to gravitate that we speak to are going to gravitate towards the comic book. So that may be one you want to keep an eye on. These books are these magazines are kind of hard to find. You may be able to find one or two online, but typically they're not online. I checked some back issue magazine websites, nowhere to be found. So you're just going to have to look at shops and shows and such. The next one that caught my eye was 108. Nice cover. Star Wars Insider 108. Came out in April 2009. So what do you got there? 4 or 7 months later. And then we start to get into some really cool covers. Some really cool Ahsoka covers in 140, which came out in April of 2013. You got the regular newsstand issue and then the subscription issue with less of a trade dress. I guess you would, these days we call that minimal trade dress. And then issue 159, which came out in August of 2015, which is a pretty badass Vader cover with her. And they did both, again, the regular newsstand and the subscription cover. So those are some interesting magazines to me. She doesn't have a lot of comic book appearances, and all I can say is this is the way. Baby Yoda does have a Star Wars Insider cover as well, which is number 195, The Child.
When did that come out?
Pretty recently.
Oh.
So it doesn't really sell for much now. Maybe something to put on your radar if you are actually looking around for these magazines.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I like that.
I like that.
I like how there's a GIF here, but the GIFs don't work.
No, it was a screenshot.
Who thought Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father? Oh yeah, when he was leaving the theater.
He's leaving the theater. I wanted to put in some off-topic kind of things that we can talk about during these times that maybe we can get a chuckle out of. Just something a little bit different than comic books. I don't know if you guys saw this. Adam Hughes and Eric Larson were going back and forth on Twitter. And Eric Larson was apparently pretty mad at Hughes for talking about a movie spoiler.
Yeah,
you guys like when
Adam Hughes
people
said,
talk about movie spoilers? I mean, what's the normal
Adam
time
Hughes
frame?
said that in Psycho, Norman Bates is actually his own mother.
What? Whoa!
Yeah.
Spoiler alert!
One, I haven't seen that movie.
Oh man!
Surprise!
Also, the new.
But I mean, yeah. Does that spoil it for me? I guess, but like, who cares? And I'm sure it's still a great movie. But yeah, Eric Larson got really upset. But then Adam Hughes, again, like they were going at him, and he made like a joke.
He doubled
about,
down
like,
on it.
Yeah, go back to yell at Todd.
Yeah, and do you realize why he posted this action figure? I didn't realize it at first either. So he said, "Sorry, I'm sorry for like creating a spoiler that's 60 years old." And Eric Larson just doubled down, and he told him like, "You're getting a little crazy here." And so he posted this picture of a Psycho action figure, and told him to yell at Todd because McFarlane Toys published or created those toys. And he was like, he was saying like, if you see a toy, it gives it away that's been out for a long time. Maybe you want to talk to Todd McFarlane first. I don't know. Eric Larson is an interesting guy. He's very polarizing on social media. So I just wanted to put out there a movie that I was thinking about the other day, which was Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. And I would just say, think of, if you haven't seen it, great movie. I don't want to give too much away, but I will show one thing maybe that is a great indication of the movie. Oh, I don't want to give too much away, but I thought that was a great image that will just stick with you through the movie. And shit, fuck, I ruined it. I apologize. The movie's 25 years old.
Weird, man.
Made my whole day. This is why I don't look at the fucking the reel, so I can experience the joy in real time. Thank you.
That's why you don't look at the reel?
Yeah. Finkel's Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel.
I'm hoping that
Jimmy's a man.
I'm hoping that Eric Larson watches and he's mad at us.
I doubt it. What's this about? What's this all about?
Oh, did you guys see that Artgerm was selling these sketches on his website?
Damn.
Apparently, he's really stepped up his website game, and he had a auction feature built into his website. So these were the two that I liked the most. The Poison Ivy ended up the highest, and I don't quote me on the exact figure, $1,500 or $1,300. The Wonder Woman was surprising to me. It finished below $1,000. There was a Catwoman that broke the $1,000 mark as well. But this one intrigued me the most. Captain Karen, it sold for the minimum $500. I saw that he was thinking about putting this word bubble on. I'd like to report a meeting of more than 10 people. I'm not sure if that made it into the final art, but it seemed fitting given the current situation of COVID-19 and coronavirus. Yeah, Captain Karen was not well received on the bidding platform, apparently. What do you guys think of this? Would you pay $500 for this? It's an Artgerm original.
No.
Fully colored.
I wanted to speak to Artgerm's manager.
Yeah, no, that's too expensive, man, in my opinion. But if
it's hard to get an
it,
original for
them,
though.
I guess, but it's very rich.
The Wonder Woman I thought was pretty nice, honestly.
Oh, dude, they're gorgeous. Whew.
Yeah. So, hopefully that made brighten up your comic book day a little bit.
Yeah, good stuff.
Nothing brightens up my comic book day like talking to you guys. Okay, what's on our market watch?
I don't think we had anything. Yeah, it was just
why did I leave that there? That's bad planning. It's
almost like you want to talk. You want to talk about the market?
It's almost like I need somebody to. It's almost like I need somebody to look at this slideshow and proofread it to make.
Want to talk about the market?
Extra slides for no reason.
I want
somebody to proofread my slide.
The one I will say that's sustained from last week and has gone up actually is that Jimmy's pointed it out was that Spawn 306, the D cover, the Todd McFarlane Gunslinger. It's gotten up to about $30 now, so I don't know how long that'll last. But
yeah, somebody stole a first appearance of the Gunslinger CGC 98 on eBay for nothing. I want to say it was like less than $200.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
that was on
pissed.
the.
I didn't bid. I had it on my watch list, and then it went, and it was on the ended listing, and I was like, "Fuck."
That was definitely on the top 100 modern comics list. which the next segment will be appearing soon. Correct, Jimmy?
Yeah, I have to finish editing the second one so we can have all of them done, and then
Sweet.
I guess we'll figure out how we're gonna release those. I don't know. How are we releasing those? Are we gonna wait a week?
I think we should set up a Patreon. No, I'm just fucking with you.
We should do exclusive Facebook posts, and we should put exclusive content.
You got to get in the buyers group.
A secret Facebook group.
Yeah.
But we should only let like 200 people in that Facebook group or something. Like that's how you do it. You control the people, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
And then we'll make a variant from that.
Yes.
Great idea. Nico time.
We're on Nico time. Hey, we're on Nico time. Sorry, I wasn't ready for Nico time. I'm surprised. These slideshows are weird, but we're ready for Nico time. Are you ready for Nico time?
Absolutely.
Okay, here you go, Nico. Here's your first book.
Oh my! All right, Spitfire Comics number 133. Super interesting book, as all of you can see. Woman in a red dress, fascist Nazi through a window, about to get shot in his kisser. Rare book. There's 15 blue labels total on the census. 16 restored copies. 1 loan 9.8.
Seems like a lot of restored copies, doesn't it? Comparatively? So 50% are restored? Yikes.
More than 50%.
Yeah, 1 over 50.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Some asshole out there with a black magic marker. I don't even know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that happened, but super cool book. What do you guys think this is? If you got to ballpark it grade wise, 4.0.
I didn't look at it closely. The spine doesn't look great to me.
Spine doesn't look great. Rest of the book's gorgy.
Were the staples attached?
Sorry, this book is supposed to have 3 staples.
Yeah,
seems of the age. That seems like
no, I'm asking
one too many, but I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
So there's 1, 2, 3. Right?
Okay.
Oh, can you see that? I don't know if you can see what I'm saying, what I'm showing. Actually,
I don't see it.
I don't know how to point it. Oh no! How dare we? Okay, so here we go. You ready for this?
Whoa!
1, 2, 3 is right. 3. You can tell this is a staple because these 2 staples are too high for this not to be a staple as well, though.
I agree. Hell, books from that age usually
unless this is a staple right here.
Yeah, or maybe 2.
Right? Is that what that is? I don't know.
I wouldn't expect it to have 3.
The staples for sure are in weird enough spots, like this one right in the middle, that I would say that this is a staple. But what do I know?
No, I think you're 100% right.
Because if it has just 2 staples, they're in the wrong places. Up here. But again, what do I know? I'm just the guy controlling the pointer.
Yeah, that's pretty fancy of you.
What else we got on this list?
All right, so
this is a book that we've talked about before.
No, go back, Jimmy. Go back.
Okay.
All right,
You're
so
fine.
I want to read
like
the description.
next book.
I want to read the description. Piece of tape on the bottom, extra staple that's been removed. Centerfold still attached. Here's kind of the GPA data on it. What do you think that is?
That means that this has been removed, right?
I think so.
So yeah, so this would be somebody probably bought the restored copy and a restored copy and is just selling it raw. I would assume. I would also assume that's a lot of those raw copies are people who re-slabbed books that they were like, how is this restored? And they kept trying to, but I don't know. I feel like that might be how this book is. It does look like it's a darker cover. I don't really like it as far as I would say as a cool Nazi cover because there aren't. If that guy had a swastika on his uniform anywhere or there was a swastika on it, I'd say this is an awesome cover. But without that, it's like it's okay for its time.
Right. I think maybe people bought a restored copy, cracked it, tried to resub it. Maybe it wouldn't get noticed.
Yeah,
sometimes
I think somebody might have kept doing that over and over again, and maybe that's why there's so many restored. The colors though on this cover are fantastic for its time. A darker with all these purples and a pinkish hue. So I mean, you can't really. This
and a woman in a red dress. You can't go wrong with that.
Amen. CGC 3.0 in January of 2019, $1,100. A 4.5
Whoa.
in February of 2020, sold for $1,020. I think this is a big number for it to command here with the staple removed, but what the hell do I know? In a down market, still demanding big cash. Next book.
Cool.
Yeah, Jimmy, you were saying?
Oh, I just thought it was a really nice cover. Sorry, I got a notification that said our Facebook stream wasn't working, but I mean, whatever. It is what it is.
I love this cover. I think it's an underappreciated cover in the Chamber of Chills run. It's maybe my second favorite from the series. This sale is commensurate with GPA data. You're seeing like a 3.5 in January of this year, sell for $206. Here you've got a 2.0 selling for almost $160. I think it's like 155 or 3. I can't really see it, but interesting book. Pick them up if you see them in low grade. Certainly pick them up if you see them in higher grade. I'm a big fan. Next.
Yeah, very affordable book. Usually we don't get the affordable ones on here.
Yeah. All right. Super stinking rare. Daring Mystery Comics #2. It's the first appearance of the Phantom Bullet, Alan Lewis. This is a Joe Simon story with a Schomburg cover. There's 12 blue labels on the census, 10 more copies that are restored. This one is advertised as having color touch. To give you some indication of what the sales data is, in October of last year, there was a CGC 6.0 with substantial professional restoration that sold for $2,200. July of that year, we had a 1.5 blue label sell for $1,345. And back in January of 2018, a 3.0 blue label sell for $2,500. Can't beat Schomburg. Even when the books have been restored, people pay substantial sums of money. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, if it's Schomburg, you're just getting a high price tag no matter what. First appearance, of course, but this cover doesn't do like, it's not like if I had to, if I was on a budget for a Schomburg, maybe I'd get this, but this one doesn't do much for me. I'd rather have one of those war covers, obviously, but it's going to change your price point. Okay, good. Good. Thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
Albedo #2. This book won't stop. My Lord, it's unbelievable how hot this book is.
I don't know that I would get it slabbed if it was going to get a 6.0.
Dude, it might be the hottest cover in comics.
Besides,
it's crazy.
If you notice, it says
Stan on it or something.
Stan Sakai on first page, so it's signed.
Okay. Yeah. Probably the hottest besides Ninja Turtles 1 first print, maybe, right?
I don't know. I've never seen anything like it. So there's 171 blue labels. There's only 8 copies that are in worse condition. Of course, if you would reslab this with CBCS, theoretically they could
verify it.
Yeah. I don't know. As a buyer, without additional information, I sort of assume that the signature doesn't count.
I wouldn't buy it one way or the other, especially with the CGC label, if it was signed one way or the other, personally.
So to give you some indication of the numbers on this one, in June of last year, a 9.4 sold for $7,000. It's a 9.4. A 7.0 in July sold for $2,600, and a 6.5 sold for $2,000. Now here's the interesting one. In July, there was an 8.0 that sold for $3,800.
Okay.
So that's kind of your spread. on the book. I think people are they're just in love with Usagi Yojimbo.
And would this go for $2,000 something?
Yeah, 25.50.
For me, like, this is a book I would like to own, not because I care that much about the character, but that it is impossible to find in a wild, or it rarely comes up online. I like these kind of books myself, and I would like to own it just because of that, not necessarily because of Ninja Turtles. And I think there's other people out there like me that like that stuff.
Yeah. Now, what do you guys think? Would you have gone with the blue label?
Yeah, I think so. For that, like I said, I wouldn't have got it slabbed. I would have just sold it raw if I really wanted to sell it to make money. I would
You mean
just
like
sell
as
it raw.
opposed to a
Green.
qualified? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd go for a blue label.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how much that knocks it down. I don't think a lot when it's on the inside. Jimmy?
It doesn't knock it down at all.
When it's on the inside?
No.
Yeah, so I mean, not much reason to. Well, I'll take it if you're selling for a very cheap price.
Oh. Oh.
Jimmy, you got one of those?
No. I don't want to talk about it, but I could have bought one recently. This is another one that I saw recently, and it wasn't nearly close to this price when Walt showed it to me. So, I think it might have been around 5. I think it might have been, I don't know. So this kind of upset me when I saw it on your list, but like, it is what it is.
Thanks for
It's
tease
Mass
out.
Comics.
Has everyone on the podcast got a horror story about Mass Comics?
It's an LB Cole comics. No, mine is about this exact comic. I saw this exact comic before it came.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. And it wasn't this price when I saw it at a show. So I was just surprised that it sold for this much. Don't go, I wasn't gonna pay for that much. I mean, it's a
That
classic
big
cover.
rip on there is pretty noticeable.
Yeah. So
This is an insane result. Okay.
It's Canadian.
it's not Canadian. It's from a Canadian.
No,
Oh, it's Canadian. Oh, you're right. It's Canadian because I didn't change the eBay. I'm sorry, but it sold for $4,500.
Wow.
US.
That's a huge number for a 1/8. There's only 3 copies that are in worse condition on the census. August of 2019, we saw a 6.5 sell for almost $10,000.
Dude, it's the last issue, and look at that cover.
Oh, it's arguable. Many people suggest it's the best PCH book, period.
No.
I mean, I'm not one of them, but believe me.
What's
Do you like Mask 1 better?
2? Is it 1 or 2 where it's got the tiki torches on it?
So
where it's just the mask.
That would be number 1.
Yeah, I like that one better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a suspense guy myself, but different people fall in different camps. But the point is, these 2 books, Mask 1 and Mask 2, have been on fire all year long. COVID-19 or no COVID-19, the price just won't stop. And in November of last year, we sold a 4.0, right? 4.0 sold on, I think, eBay for $11,400.
For this book?
4.0.
Holy crap. Is this in that, what's the thing called where it tells the rarity of it?
It's in the Gerber Almanacs. I don't know what its Gerber rating is, but there's 35 blue labels on the census.
Okay. That's more than I would have thought. For the price points.
For the price point, it's unbelievable. People love this book. They again argue it's like the king of PCH books. Mask 1, Mask 2. I don't know. I like suspense better, but it's neither here nor there.
Cool. Good book. I did not realize it was that pricey myself. Yimmy did, apparently, and still didn't buy it.
And that's it. Wah, wah, wah.
No, that's a good one. I like those books.
So, Oh, we're on GPA for Comics Watch. That's a
Yeah,
good
let's
one.
do it. Let's run through it real quick. First up, so I got a little bit of a theme going here, and it's not doesn't have to do with the books. Star Wars 104. I'm gonna keep beating you over the head with these random Star Wars and Transformers books. Star Wars 104, recent 9.8 sale, $800. The cover's garbage. There's nothing important about it. $800. All
It's
time high was
unbelievable.
$850 last year. 26 on the census. So remember that 26 on the census.
Is this a product of registry guys or
I that's the only thing that makes sense to me is Star Wars, Transformers. What's the other one I've been showing? It's mostly been Star Wars and Transformers, I think. Oh, GI Joes. Every once in a while, I'll throw a GI Joe in there. Just like so. Basically, this year, if we ever get out there and start being able to go to conventions and such, I'm looking for some high grades of all these random books that just sell for ridiculous prices. The next one that we had was Justice Machine Annual #1. I don't know if you guys ever look for this book. I kind of look for it a little bit more because the backup story is the first Futurians, and it has a little bit of local flavor to me. I've found these for maybe like $5 raw before, and sold them for $25 raw
I
and
find
near
these in
mint.
dollar bins all the time,
Do you?
and I pick them up every
It's an
time.
easy book to pick up. I don't
Mhm.
see them anymore though myself.
Oh, I
So
still. It's the first appearance of the Elementals. I don't know what you're talking
Elementals. I'm
about,
sorry,
but
I
yeah.
said Futurians. Same.
But
Isn't it the same creator? Maybe that's
I
why I'm
don't
getting
know.
them mixed up.
I don't remember what the Elementals are or what their why people want it, but people definitely
Yeah,
have
exactly.
gravitated towards this book for a few years now. But
For some
I am
reason, I want to
surprised
say
that nine.
Dave Cockrum. Is that right?
It's possible. I'm not sure offhand, but I am very surprised that there's only 24 copies on the census. So
Right.
yeah,
And the last sale was 208, which is all time high.
that's
Like
interesting. Well, I mean, as it like it's a book that I could see it as $150 9.8. So the sale
yeah,
isn't that surprising, but again, only 24 9.8s. That's a little surprising to me.
I didn't realize there's a Nazi symbol down there, isn't there?
Yeah, I believe those are called swastikas.
Oh, right. Or is that the reverse one, the Hindi thing?
No, what? It's
Okay.
on a helmet, and then there's it's on. Okay, what else we got on here?
So now we're at Sandman #10. Recent sale of $575, all time high. Why does this book sell this much? I have no clue. There is only 12 on the census, though. As far as I know, there's nothing key about this book. I don't know if you guys know anything about it,
is
but
that the first appearance of the Dreaming?
Maybe
Possibly.
there are a few first appearances in those teens. I'm not sure what
Yeah,
this one if this is one of them.
it's not
But
labeled, but you could be right. And there's only two other recent sales. One was in 2013 for $114, and 2008 $117. This one was $575. I mean, again, it's like a weird random book. Probably
Yeah,
like
you can get a #1 for less than you can get a
right.
1 and an 8 for less than $575. Somebody had to be again registry hunting.
Not 9.8. You can get them raw
I don't
easily.
know. It's
Yeah,
possible. Who
yeah.
knows?
You can get a 9.8 of 1 or 8 for less than $575. I guarantee
Eight.
it.
I don't know about 8. I
I
thought 8 was like 600.
I don't think so.
All right. So the last three that I mentioned, all very low census numbers. Here's one that I think all of us never would think would reach these heights. Ghost Rider #1 from 1990, the height of, or beginning the height of overproduced comic books. This was not quite there yet, but growing up, I always wanted this comic because it's pretty badass cover, Danny Ketch. So one recently sold for $230. Last year, it hit the all-time high of $250. But look how many are on the census, 270. And it's still hitting over $200. Like, now I have not really I've been looking for these for a few years, and I assume you guys have too. Assuming that I could buy them for $2 to $4 in high grade,
Right.
I wouldn't pay more than that. Now, if I can get a 9.8, I'm gonna pay $10 for one.
Hey,
Probably wouldn't go higher.
Sandman 10, it's Desire and Despair. That's their first appearance.
Okay.
Oh, I believe we
So
did
it's
an article
probably-
on that.
You did. It's on comicbookspeculation.com.
Oh, okay.
I assume. So it's probably related to the TV show. That's
Yeah.
why somebody bought that. So that Ghost Rider book, cool book. It's selling for more than I think anybody ever thought it would. And that's what I got for this week on the
Very
GTA
nice. I like.
Oh, I liked it. I liked it.
I went on Facebook and I liked it.
It was good. Okay, where are we at?
Dude,
We're
this
at
is fucking so sad right here.
the Wednesday Warrior Guide. I went to a comic book store today, and they told me because like every store in Ontario, that like retail store is supposed to be closed tonight at 12 is the last. Like, so they're not allowed to open for 15 days.
Yeah.
And mandated by the government. And they told me I could just come tomorrow and knock on the back door, and they'll let me in. Which I thought was surprising. But Diamond put out a notice that said
I'm not
comic book
surprised
stores
that
could order their stuff, could start selling their stuff.
normally knock on the back door. And
Well, they said they just knock on the back door and the store will be closed, but they'll let you in and sell you
are you
stuff.
sure you're going to a comic book shop?
Well, I mean, they did have holes on all the doors. It was weird.
Knock 3 times.
Tap your foot.
But
Come on, man.
yeah, I mean, I didn't know the code per se. I mean, that's what you're supposed to say, right? That you don't know the code. Anyway, so here's the Wednesday Warrior Guide. It seems to be very variant heavy. But so the Batman 90 second print comes out. It has a different cover. What do you think about this book, Joe?
I really, as I've said last week, I think I'm burned out on Punchline. I don't know. It's went to third. Did this one go to third or no? Was it only 89?
I believe it has.
I don't see much in this. I think Punchline, in terms of the hype, these second and third prints aren't going to do much. That's what I'm thinking. But I didn't think the third print would last, or the first print would last as long as it did in terms of value.
We talked about this
Hellions?
book quite a bit. It has all these characters coming back.
Yeah. Remember we talked about this on the podcast. We went through all the characters reappearing that have been kind of dormant. And Jimmy, you had some news on this book, correct?
Oh yeah, I opened it and it was weird, so I sent it to you. I don't know, is Wolverine dead? It looked like there was a bunch of dead characters and they're coming back to life or something. I don't know. It's weird. So maybe we'll be hearing about that. Very high print run on this book though. So
some store variants for it, some nice store variants, but
I don't know. But the store I went to today, I helped them do their inventory, and I believe there was like 200 copies of this book. So
oh my gosh,
they're out there. I don't know if Marvel did a double ship, or maybe the store was just really intent on getting this terrible book, but it's out there. This one I kind of liked. I didn't pick up any copies though. So for the first time ever, this is again the first time, which I don't believe because IDW does so many of these crossovers, but it's the first time Transformers and the Terminator universe are crossing over.
I believe it. Why the hell would that ever happen before?
Yeah, what are you fucking out of your mind? But that's a sick
because
cover, dude.
Ghostbusters have everybody.
Ghostbusters have crossed
They've done
over with a lot of
Ghostbusters,
things.
Transformers. They've done, and there was X-Files
always.
Transformers. But yeah, so there's a few videos too that look nice. We didn't put pictures of them up, but there's a few covers of this. I don't know how.
And this is just the base cover by Gavin Fullerton, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really selling for a lot, but I did see a lot of people talking about it before it was released. So a couple weeks ago, nice cover. Transformers, Terminator. I don't know, whatever. Doesn't do much for me personally, but I'm sure some people will read it.
That's dope.
Go ahead.
Wolverine 2, 1 in 25 variant and 1 in 100 variant. David Finch. It seems to be selling well above ratio. So that's another book to be thinking of, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't like this cover when I saw it. I didn't realize that was Finch. He kind of like tried to do John Romita Jr. Remember when Romita Jr. was doing all those DC covers with the rain on them and they actually looked pretty decent?
No, I
No.
don't remember John
Yeah.
Romita Jr. ever
Exactly,
doing a cover that looked
right?
decent. So
I know there
think
was
you're
a
just making that
Nightwing
up.
one, and it was like, really? That's John Romita Jr.? I don't
Yeah.
think so.
I think you might be drunk because I don't believe you. But
I agree.
so that's another one. And then another variant that is selling well is this 1 in 25 Star Wars Bounty Hunters #2. And there were some sales $30 to $40. I don't know what they're still doing. I mean, I think there might still be some first appearances in this book. I'm not sure. I didn't read it, but I think these might be
I
good
don't.
books. But who
You know,
knows?
when I went on my Star Wars deep dive, I was looking at Bounty Hunters 1, and I don't know. I didn't read the comic. I'll give you that, but a lot of these characters have appeared before, and
Yeah,
we'll
but
get
it's
into
still
that.
it is the first appearance of their boss, right? The boss that they're looking for or whatever. So there is that one first
Jabba the Hutt.
appearance. No.
Oh, Pizza the Hut. My fault.
Okay, whatever, man. I don't remember. When issue 1 came out and I looked into it, there is at least one first appearance. It could be a minute character, but it seemed that they kind of were like an architect of the bounty hunter Boba
Yeah.
Fett type thing. But
No,
who knows?
they've been around. The enforcer told me the whole backstory, and I was like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about, but that story's been told before.
Yeah,
I told you you don't
usually
know what
when
you're
he
talking
talks to
about.
me about Star Wars, I don't understand what he's talking about at all.
It's like you know how some people like when they take math, they're like, oh man, this guy is so smart, but he doesn't know how to teach it. He knows what he's talking about, but I'm like, I don't even know.
He knows but he doesn't know how to teach it. Dude, just watch the movies. Like, what do you
I
mean?
don't
You
even know math, dude.
This
This
is
has
way
nothing
beyond
to do with the
way
movies.
beyond
It's like
the movies, dude.
I don't even know what 2 + 2 is.
So this
and
is
I'm
what
trying
this
to
is
learn algebra.
This is the 1 in 25 variant for Teenage Mutant Ninja
No, it's
Turtle
a 1 in
Jenica
10.
issue 2. Oh, really? This is the 1 in 10. Okay,
Yeah.
go on.
Selling below ratio. I think
Shocker.
I like the artist, Lauren Walsh. I would keep an eye on maybe her work in the future. This cover, I think, is really nice. And that was all I had to say about that. It's below.
I like this cover, but
is terrible.
my order was canceled for it, which I guess is okay. But the
Interesting.
Ghostbusters 1 in 10 variant that comes out this week for issue 3, I guess this is what, like volume 15. But it had a few sales above $20, which isn't bad if you can get it at ratio. It's a homage of that Joker cover where he holds the card.
Batman.
I can't remember what it is, but it's on
251.
Is it 251? Yeah, that sounds about right.
Neil Adams.
So, yeah, the Neil Adams. So, there's
Nico had to do a Neil Adams towel job before the podcast started. What do you think has more volumes?
In the towel. Okay.
What do you think has more volumes, Captain Marvel or Ghostbusters?
Captain Marvel.
Yeah, probably so.
Because Captain Marvel, Ghostbusters, the comic books, in the 90s there were 2, and then they started again within the last 15 years. Whereas with Captain Marvel, and you didn't say Carol Danvers Captain Marvel, right? You just said Captain Marvel. So with Captain Marvel, we're talking about even in the 90s, there's at least 15 volumes.
They're on
right?
10 at least.
No, they're way past 10. Maybe Carol Danvers they're at 10. But anyways, that's it for our Wednesday Warrior thing. I like running through it. But again, this week, not that many great things. I would of course say support your stores because we're in a very bad situation right now, and everybody should be supporting their stores. A lot of them are doing curbside pickups and fun stuff like that. You can also phone them and do credit card orders because of course you don't want them to go out of business. Diamond is shutting down for the foreseeable future, I believe a few weeks. So we'll see how that works out. Maybe that's on the outline. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about that towards the end. But just support your stores. That's all I can say. This might be the last time we see new comic books for a few weeks. So you'll be crying like this girl, which is definitely what I'm doing. Okay, what's on our rumor mill this week? Do we have something, or is this going to be an empty slide again? Let's find out. Yes.
Bloodshot came out today. Digital release.
It's $20, right?
Yeah, it's $20.
I thought it was tomorrow.
No, it came out today.
Shit, I should have watched it.
At least I got an alert from Key Collector said it came out. I thought.
All right.
I didn't read it.
I'm excited.
Bloodshot got this. Obviously, we know the trials and tribulations of this movie in the comic book realm.
Somebody's doing some kind of snappy noise I'm hearing, and they should stop doing
Nico,
that. But yeah, obviously. I agree. I know exactly what's going on.
Could it get
Falsely
really,
accused.
Could it get
No, it was you.
screwed more than what happened? It opened the
Jesus
weekend
Christ.
of the U.S. COVID-19, kind of when the lockdown started, and they made 9.8 million, I think, at the box office. It opened the worst.
Wait, it made
box
9.8.
office.
It made 9.8 million.
It still made 9.8.
That's not bad.
Worst box office weekend in 20 years. 55 million, I think, was the total for the box office.
Wow.
It's not bad. I mean, like, I don't think it would have done that much differently without the coronavirus stuff, honestly.
It maybe would have got a few more million. I agree, maybe 15 million, but
yeah, I doubt it.
The thing that screwed them is they can't make any more money now, so they're going.
I mean, they don't really have
digital.
that big of a fan base, right? So, the
well,
movie
Guardians
was really
of the
to
Galaxy
open up the
either.
fan base, and I don't know.
I
don't think anybody wants to see this movie. I don't know who this movie was made for.
I wanted to see the movie.
Okay.
A lot of the stuff I want to see it too. I thought it looked good, actually.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff I was reading was saying that Vin Diesel.
But you thought it looked good.
This proves.
Did we watch the same trailers?
Yeah, I thought it actually looked pretty good.
Fucking hilarious.
Hilarious.
I thought it looked good. I thought it looked
absolutely.
good.
It was an action movie.
What do you think?
Yeah. It was like Deadpool
you're getting
with
the
Vin Diesel
movie? No, it's not anywhere near Deadpool.
It looked terrible.
Ryan Reynolds and Vin Diesel are completely different planets. But, you know, I watched,
guilty.
I watched one of those recent Fast and the Furious, the one where Vin Diesel is the bad guy. You know,
Jimmy
when
loves
Nicole
that.
Kidman has him.
I haven't watched any of that shit.
Oh,
I watched like the first one in Tokyo Drift.
It was just like I mean, a major motion picture feature starring Vin Diesel. I understand he's done a lot of big movies, but you can't expect to make 100 million out box office, and I don't think they were. And
yeah, I don't think you can make more than 10.
Like Jimmy said, you know, 10 million maybe is decent. I'm sure they were expecting a lot more, but at any rate, it's on streaming now. This is the world that we live in currently. The other thing that came up, it came up last week, was that they were maybe talking about Wonder Woman going digital.
No, they weren't. Nobody, at no point were they talking about that.
No, fake news sites were putting it out there. So just another instance of make sure where you're getting your news has something of validity to it. So they did announce they pushed it back to August 14th. It was originally scheduled for June 5th. So we'll see what happens with that.
Dude, that's an exceptional poster.
It is pretty sweet, isn't it? They've had some real nice posters. We'll say that. I don't know if they're Boss Logic or somebody else, but that's the only name I know that does posters. So throw that out there.
What, you made this? What are you laughing at?
I said it was almost done. I thought you were going to help fill some things in.
Oh yeah, so I did. Don't worry, I got a slide coming up. So apparently, there's a rumor that there might be a Solo and Man-Wolf movies. Now, Man-Wolf we've talked about before, if you remember. There have been rumors before.
We have because
these are still rumors. These aren't confirmed, but yeah,
they're heavy, hard rumors. What we talked about in the past, and this kind of pisses me off that they are possibly doing a Man-Wolf movie, was the Simon Stroud, who was in the Morbius movie, played by Tyrese. His first appearance is Creatures on the Loose, I don't know, 30, 31, something like that. And the cover is Man-Wolf. And the book spiked up for a little while, and then people started talking about Man-Wolf. And kind of pissed me off because people read things and then they see a comic book cover and they say, oh, this comic's hot, Man-Wolf's on the cover, it's got to be a Man-Wolf movie. Nobody was talking about a Man-Wolf movie. The book spiked, which that comic is not the first appearance of Man-Wolf. It's an Amazing Spider-Man issue.
Man-Wolf's first appearance is a big book, though, these days.
It is now, and it was all because of Simon Stroud, in my opinion. Nobody had a hard line on this, on a Man-Wolf movie. If they did, they're lying to you. So it's where we are now. I would definitely not buy a Man Wolf at current prices, because they've also, in the past, Sony has said that there was going to be a Craven movie, which I think they shut down at this point. They've also said some other movies. So these are all in the Sony universe, though. There's a
Dealers
solo
are
movie.
all over Man Wolf too.
Yeah.
Like they're more expensive in back issue bins than they are on eBay, and they're expensive.
This has been going on for about 2 years, I think, if I recall.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, Man Wolf we knew about, but this is the new one, Solo, and see, great graphic again.
You did great, Jimmy.
On graphics. I'm
Fucking
fantastic.
Great. World,
I think
famous.
It would be great if I could somehow like put it up. So how did I have it before and now I can't?
Yeah,
that's weird. There we go. So first appearances again, Web of Spider-Man, 19. So I mean, it's a book that you can probably still find, but it's a book that's definitely jumped up.
It's also
this rumor
the first Humbug, I believe, who is actually on the cover there, and Solo's in the background. He's a purple guy. Wears purple.
Like Paladin, only not.
Like Paladin. He's not Purple Man, who was amazing. David Tennant in Daredevil. No, nowhere near that. The other books that I've been looking at for Solo, I'm putting it on the same track as what happened with Black Knight, because Black Knight really was never in the forefront of any type of Marvel books. Black Knight, in the 90s, it seemed like they did a lot of these 4-issue solo series of characters that were C and D level. I'd put Solo on the D level, and they did a solo series of him. What happened with Black Knight? Now, obviously, it was more high profile because of the actor that was cast for him. Those books, the series shot up to like $50 for a 4-issue series. So there is one around the same time for Solo that I would look into, as well as a recent series when he was doing the Deadpool Mercs for Money. They did a solo series for Solo at that time.
Nice.
There's a Rob Liefeld, 1 in 50 and 1 in 100, which don't sell for much now. I assume it was overprinted, but those are a couple books I would look at that you could probably get cheap. Very cheap.
Smart. Very smart.
But look, the deadly debut of the man called Solo, right up there, top left. I like it. He's deadly, and he's a man. Unlike this Humbug guy who has HB on his forehead, if you look at that, eh?
Terrible.
Yeah,
there was also one other movie rumored, but they did. The source did not know what it was at the time. Dude, did you guys see this?
No, I don't. I saw that you put these graphics, and I was like,
"Oh, you're a liar, dude."
I honestly, I said no because you had. How do you do, fellow dudes? I thought to myself, okay, this is gonna be fun. I saw people were complaining about like new characters, like they did like some character called like Social Justice Warrior or something, or I don't know.
Every once in a while, Bleeding Stool has some good articles, and I was just looking up some images for this, and they had this image on their story about it. This is the writer on the right, who I don't even recall. Well, it says his name there, Daniel something.
Daniel Kibblesmith.
Kibblesmith, yeah. He's done a couple major titles or somewhat. I think he did Deadpool or something. But this is from an interview with him where he's explaining all these new characters they created for a new Warrior series coming out. And Bleeding Stool did this awesome graphic. How do you do, fellow kids? And it's like they inserted the skateboard in the backwards hat where it's like, look, I am cool like you. Would you like to hear about my comic book? So they're bringing back Night Thrasher, who was a pretty popular 90s character. They also are introducing 5 or 6 new characters. And there's a couple okay ones. If we go to the next slide, maybe we can see a couple of the new characters.
Yeah. So, we got Screen Time and B Negative.
Yeah, so he has a whole YouTube video of him going through all the characters, which you can find where he goes through why they are created and what their background is. Screen Time, he said, is like, it's a play on having too much screen time as a kid. And mobile devices, etc., TV, games. B Negative is possibly some way related to Morbius. I think he threw something out like maybe he got some blood from him from a transfusion or something. I don't know. But the thing that has caused the internet to go wild over the past week with this new team are the introduction of 2 or 3 new characters, 2 of them being the next slide, which
Oh, I'm going. I'm here, buddy.
Snowflake and Safe Space. I'm not going to comment too much on this. There's some good YouTube videos out there. I forget, man. I'll have to put it online or something. There's one guy that does a lot of good comic book videos, and he kind of went in deep as to his thoughts on this, and I thought it was very relevant as to what it means for current culture of where we are in the world and what that means to comics, and then to have characters named Snowflake and Safe Space and what that means to where we are. It was basically a slap in the face, was his opinion, but there's not much you can say on it without going
That's
crazy.
weird. It
Just seems a little out there.
I mean, the weird characters. What do you think, Nico? Oh, I mean, he walked away, so I mean, that's the right
I think
thing
he had
to
to
do.
poop.
Plead the fifth.
Right.
But that's all we had.
All right, so let's get back to the diamond thing. We
5.
got a few minutes.
Oh, sorry.
1, 2,
Okay.
3, 4. So Diamond is done shipping comics for now. Or next week, the U.S. stores will still get their shipments.
No.
U.S.
Today's
stores won't even
Today's
get
the
them.
end.
Really?
No. Yeah.
So they have not said, obviously, when they're resuming. It seems like it is a result of, at this point, I would assume they have the comics printed. We're only a week away from.
Well, the thing is, they didn't want to put different stores on different playing fields and put different people in different positions, because it putting out new books really benefits people who only primarily sell online, and doesn't help brick and mortar stores that are forced to be closed. When I think about at least 90% of all stores right now are forced to be, they're non-essential, so they have to be shut down. I don't know about where you guys are, but I know where I am. Most of the places are shut down. So
I wouldn't say it's 90%. There's a lot of states that have not gone the essential, non-essential. It's the more less populated states. But.
Yeah, let me be the bearer of bad news. You ready? The DHS list, the Department of Homeland Security list in the state of West Virginia and Ohio, but not PA, that was adopted by a ton of states in the United States, basically says everything's fucking essential, but not comic book shops. I mean, the exemptions, the exceptions are profound. I mean, you got to be like a window tinting operation of 6 or more employees, or like an antique store or a comic book shop to be shut down. But comic book shops are on that. They absolutely do not fit within any of those exceptions on the DHS list. And I think most of the state lists. So yeah, they're all done for at least a couple weeks.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? I mean,
so what are you guys seeing for, what are your local shops doing? Mine, a couple of them are doing curbside pickup. Some of them are just saying, no, we're closed for good until things change. I had one person, one of our friends, tell us that their shop said, here's the deal. Let me get your opinion on this one, because this was interesting to me, because I had a different reaction when I first heard it. They said, here's the deal. If you have a pull list, we're going to charge you to mail your comics to you. If you don't pay within a certain window of time, 2-3 weeks, we're going to cancel your pull list for good, basically. So they basically said, like, and when I first heard that, I said, oh, that's kind of smart, because they're trying to make sure that they stay in business. And the opinion of the person that had their pull list there was, no, that's messed up, because I've been going there for decades, and they're going to cancel my pull list because all the shops are shut down and I have to pay for them to ship my comics to me. That's not right. So I don't know. What do you guys think? And they're going to charge you ahead of time. Like you had to give them PayPal or credit card or something.
I'm not sure. That seems weird, but I'm not sure. I think like most of the stores around here are closing, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think unfortunately retailers are in a horrific space, the likes of which we haven't seen since the 90s. If this thing goes on for any length of time whatsoever.
We've never seen, this is unprecedented. Like, this has never happened.
Right, but I'm talking about like
not in our age. It's happened.
I'm talking about
no, it's never happened ever. Like, I mean, it happened in the 50s.
My grandparents, yeah, when wartime.
Yeah, but aside from that,
II.
it's kind of unprecedented.
Yeah,
I mean, and I'm talking about comic books. That's the only time the comic book industry has ever been shut down. Was really in the 50s, and that so it's weird.
Well, and remember, I mean, we're not in a vacuum. I mean, the impact of a global recession, the impact of people being unable to go to their jobs. Because while I say that, like, you know, everybody fits within that exception, that doesn't mean that employers aren't like, well, half of you are out. You're a professional architect. I think you fit within the exception.
Dude, don't dox him. Nobody knew that. Nobody knew that until now. Next thing you're going to tell us that you're going to tell everybody about how he got engaged last week to his secret girlfriend that we're not supposed to talk about.
Congratulations.
That's what he wasn't here for. He went to a baseball game with her and he engaged. Got engaged
beautiful.
Or he proposed.
Absolutely
yeah.
beautiful.
He
He
went on
engaged.
the Jumbotron.
Yes.
Yeah, he engaged.
Number one, engaged.
But anyway, so the point is, but that
My
just
favorite
because
Star
you
Wars
fit
character.
within those exceptions, right? It doesn't mean that employers don't, as a civic duty or because they feel a sense of responsibility to the public or their employees, you know, put half the people home. I mean, we're just like in the first, second, third inning of like what may be an extra innings battle, not just an economic one, but you know, one where there's serious health consequences and people are going to lose their lives. I hate to even begin to speculate on what may happen to our economy here in the United States, globally, to the economy, and you know, certainly to this like industry within the economy. But my big takeaway is today, more than any time ever, I am grateful for the interrelationship, like the interconnectedness of movies and comic books, because the amount of money that's invested in comic book related television and films will ensure that comic book publishing will rise again.
Yeah, I don't think that's going away. I don't know. I don't think
and I think people are coming back with dollars to spend, right? Because we're not coming off television.
Hopefully.
We're not going off of the movie screens. I just don't know what the trajectory of that's going to be. Whether that's going to be 6 months, 9 months, 18 months, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. Hopefully not that long.
I hope not.
I think that's all we had, though. Am I wrong?
That's about it. Yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about.
We'll catch you guys next week if the internet doesn't go down and the world's in total chaos and we don't all die. But I don't know. I mean, I imagine we'll all be here.
Yeah, we'll be here, rocking it out. We got to provide some entertainment for the people out there that need their fix away from reality.
Yeah.
We're not going anywhere.
Okay, we'll catch you guys later. Bye now. Bye. I push the button.